Please don't hurt me.
Let's pause for a second. How do we get there?
Stop it!
And lastly,
You need to confront this.
how did we get there? Something that I've always wanted to talk about is performances and how we get those performances. There is a huge list of tools and things you can do with the actor to get appropriate performances, and I've never really seen anyone talk about those things. So today, I'm not gatekeeping anything, and I'm gonna be an open book on my personal process on how I get performances with my actors. If you're a beginner director or an experienced one looking for new techniques, hopefully this will help you out. So the first thing over everything when it comes to getting the best performance you can is casting. You want to cast appropriately. But for the sake of the conversation, we're gonna act like this is something that you have no control over. Like myself, I've had multiple projects that I've been hired for as a director, and I had to work with actors that were just contracted or the producer casted them. So the first thing I do, and this is my big secret, is as simple as I have a conversation with them. So prior to the set, I sit down with them and I talk about their character. This is something that I always wanted when I was an actor. I always just wanted to talk about my character. I wanted to talk about the motivation. I wanted to talk about things that weren't in the script. I do that with my actors. I ask my actors questions about the character that aren't in the script. I ask them questions about what they think about certain things. Because to me, in my head, if I ask you, hey, what's your character's past look like? Give me a memory of your character and what they've been through. It allows your actor to have the freedom of creating their own narrative. I think that connection between their personal input, the script, and the director's direction, it really creates trust. And that's something that's really important. Trust is massive when it comes to you and your actor. You need to establish trust and a bond, because the greater the trust, the greater the bond, the greater the performance. If I'm asking you to cry, first and foremost, I know people who can just cry on the spot. They're naturals like that. But let's say you're working with someone that you've never met, someone that is new and they're forced to cry. I personally would take them aside. I would say, hey, let's have a conversation. And something that my buddy told me about that I loved. And it was amazing because he got this performance out of a kid actor that he just met. And the boy cried, and it was amazing. And I asked him, what did you do to get that performance? And he said, I just closed the door. I went into another room. I turned off the lights, and I told him, tell me a memory, and I'll tell you a memory. He told me that one of the girls, it was an actress too as well, she cried and said a memory of her mom, and the boy said another memory. He wasn't specific about that one, but it was incredible because they created the bond and attachment. And I think creating a safe space for your actors is really important. You want to make your actors feel comfortable. I know people don't really like when you coddle an actor, but the truth is that when an actor needs to be in a vulnerable state, you need to make sure they feel safe and they feel like they can express themselves. But like I said, not one size fits all. Specifically with certain actors, sometimes, not all the time, and this is an unpopular opinion, they just want to be told, be more sad or be angry. And honestly, it depends from actor to actor. I've worked with brilliant actors where they just want to be told what emotion they need to gain, and then from there, they channel it themselves. For me, personally, I'm more Meisner oriented. I want them to feel the emotion. I want them to feel the scene. And through that, that's how I cause the conversations. I'm very subtext heavy. I always ask them, what is the subtext? Subtext is so important. You look at the line and you say, what does it really mean? What are you really trying to say? If a man is sitting down and he sees a girl across and they're waiting for a bus, he says, did you see the game last night? What is he saying? Did you see the game last night? The subtext is, I'm lonely. I want to have a conversation. I ask them questions that I hope sprout curiosity and interest inside the character. Another tool that I like to use is as-ifs. As-ifs are super effective. I would say, hug this man as if he was your dad. Hug this man as if he was your boyfriend. And that allows them to get to a certain mentality. Another great thing that I figured out talking to a director friend of mine is he says the soap opera acting. Now, this is a lot of fun, and I really love this one because this really puts the actor out of their shell. And this is not mine, but this is his. His name is Red Valdez, so shout out to Red. love you, man. He gave me this advice when the actor was just not giving me the performance that they wanted. He says, act like you're in a soap opera. So what this does is it allows your actor to get out of their comfort zone and allows them to drop any expectations that they have, and they just over exaggerate on the acting. And what this does is it allows them to open up, and you would be surprised how many times I say, act like you're in a soap opera. And because they're so shy, that acting like they think they're in a soap opera, it actually levels out to a normal performance. And it's pretty cool. And you can kind of scale it by numbers. So I say, if that was a 10, give me a 5. And they kind of generally understand the levels of acting now. And that's also something important to establish, those levels of acting. They're screaming, hey, if that was a 10, let's give me a 5, and etc., etc. Something that I like to do too is I like to give them their own take. Something that actors love to do is they love to explore ideas. They love to perform. So give them that opportunity. Alleviate the pressure and say, hey, this is your take. Do whatever you want. Make any decision you want. Doesn't matter. Just do it. And you would be surprised how many times that has happened and they try something new and exciting and it ends up on the final cut. So, what did you think about my general advice for performances? I'm definitely gonna have to do a part 2 to get more into detail, but for the most part, those are my main things, my toolbox that I use to get a performance. If you enjoyed it, if you like it, subscribe. My name is Andrew Barona, and I'll see you on the next one.